I'm Bob Coleman, and welcome to a special edition of Coleman Report Live. Prime Capital Update, February 22nd, 2024. We're going to do this on a weekly basis as news breaks. We have Anna Griggs with us. Anna, thank you so much. And Delaney Sexton, our star reporter covering this case. This broke about, it's been less than 2 weeks, Anna. But I want to start with you. Yeah, I want you to set up an overview. Now, the big news is I'm going to steal some of Delaney's thunders. Kris Roglieri filed Chapter 11 personally. But Anna, bring us up to date. Where are we? Overview, and let's get into this.
Yeah, definitely. So we just wanted to start with a recap of what Roglieri has allegedly spent the money on so far.
Well, not allegedly, he spent it.
Yes, I was going to say we do have a lot of videos and pictures and clips that sort of do prove what he's been spending the money on. You can see here we've got his cars pictured. So it says the lawsuit claims that he spent about $11 million in luxury vehicles, $4.4 million in luxury jewelry and antiques, almost $1 million in private jet travel, and $3 million on a Virginia Beach home that isn't even his home, but it's a home for his partner in crime, Kimmy Humphrey. So he also has his personal home on top of this. So this is what he spent the money on allegedly.
Yeah, let's don't call her partner in crime yet. There are no criminal indictments. She has been named by the receiver to obtain or to claw back assets. So, the FBI has raided Kris's house, but let's take this one step at a time. Where we are today is there is a receiver. The receiver has taken control of a number of company assets, including Prime Capital, Commercial Training Alliance, the National Association of Commercial Loan Brokers event, and Kris and Kimmy personally. But Delaney, talk to us about the Chapter 11 filing. And what is always revealing in these filings is the list of expenses that the creditee, that Kris has said that he owes. Tell us what he owes.
So first, just to give everybody an idea, in case they don't know, a Chapter 11 bankruptcy is really considered a reorganization bankruptcy. So the debtor remains in possession and has powers. They can continue to operate their business, etc. So this was voluntary, and in the bankruptcy documents, it said that he had anywhere from 10 to 50 million in assets, but it looks like he has about 3 million in liabilities, including a Small Business Administration economic injury disaster loan of more than $700,000, legal services to Hogan and Lovells of $886,000, legal fees to Shepard Mullen for $100,000, legal fees to Barclay David.
You're doing better than I would try. Go ahead, Delaney.
New York State taxes, he owes $600,000. He owes money for event fees for the NACLB conference, specifically to Caesars Entertainment, in almost $500,000. And he owes KeyBank for a business line of credit for the Commercial Capital Training Group, $100,000. And lastly, he owes Chase Bank $25,000.
And these are his personal debts. We are excluding from the bankruptcy what the receiver has alleged, that he took $52 million, and then Sean Murray of the bank reports that it's up to $90 million. By the way, Sean's going to be on our show next week, so I'm looking forward to that. Delaney, tell me more about the SBA EIDL loan. What is EIDL supposed to be used for, and is that a large amount of money for his operation?
Well, that's a tough question considering I don't.
That's why I asked it.
I'm of course not super aware of his business operation. I see the numbers being thrown around, so $700,000 seems possibly reasonable for working capital. Now, based on some of the documents I've seen, it says he doesn't have any employees. He only has contractors. So regarding the economic injury disaster loan program, I'm not really sure how that plays into it, but
well, let me stop you there. He has a number of entities. I do know some of those entities has employees. One employee reached out to me and told the story that Kris came into the group and said, "Hey, this is all fake news. Don't believe it." And then a couple weeks ago, he came in and everyone was gone. employees with 8-10 years experience, no severance, and they're out of a job. So there were employees there.
Thank you for bringing that up. They did not mention what company this belonged to, so you are right.
Ah, very good. Very good. Well, good. And what's in terms of coverage, where we are with what is this case, Delaney?
Now, Compass Charlotte versus Prime Capital Ventures et al. I'm not going to list all the entities because there's quite a few. Prime Capital is the most important one here. And this is actually what established the receiver. I thought there were some great quotes in it. For example, it says the plaintiff argues that the appointment of a receiver is warranted because it has sufficiently alleged a fraudulent scheme. And while Prime Capital Ventures, of course, is not going to say they committed fraud. The courts agreed with the plaintiff. At one point, apparently, Kris Roglieri had actually pointed to another entity who was originally involved in this lawsuit. He directed the fingers elsewhere, which didn't really work out. And the court appointed the receiver to retain exclusive control because the defendant's assets, should they exist, the plaintiff sufficiently evidenced fraudulent conduct, imminent danger of the property being lost, a probability of harm to plaintiff by denial of the appointment of a receiver, and probable success in the action.
So there is a receiver. We don't know, and you're right, Delaney, we don't know what the defense is. I know Kris has pointed fingers to another company, and the allegation there will be that, hey, let's look at them. But the bottom line, Anna, is we know 52 million is missing. Delaney, in this particular instance, how much do we know? What is the purpose of the Compass Charlotte venture? What were they supposed to build, and how much money did they forward to Prime Capital? Do you know offhand?
I do not, but this does appear to be where the 52 million number came from. So I have to imagine that. I think they also listed numbers such as $15 million. Apparently he had moved $15 million and he moved it into an account that was actually overdrafted by millions of dollars. Yeah. But I don't know if I can give you an exact number at this point.
Compass Charlotte is one of the entities that put Prime Capitals into receivership. They were one of the entities that forwarded money as part of the transaction. We can break that out later. But Compass Charlotte is not alone. There are a number of different ventures where money was wired to Prime Capital. And as the receiver says, I can't find it. I don't know
and I just confirmed Compass Charlotte was 15 million and 52 million was for all of the entities.
Very quickly, one more, and then we're going to finish up with Anna.
Yes, so lastly, and this one is pretty brief, this is another one of the companies that were listed in the complaint who filed litigation against Prime Capital Ventures and Kris Roglieri. So they had originally transferred $13.8 million to Prime Capital Ventures with the understanding that there was an agreement they were going to be receiving a $107 million business expansion line of credit. Well, Prime never made the advance, which is when the litigation started happening. Prime owed $10 million to Onward. They made a few transfers here and there, and now there's a judgment entered for $3 million.
And that's it. What have you got for us, Anna?
Yeah, definitely. The last thing that we wanted to touch on, just because it's so interesting, and this isn't facts and figures, but Roglieri's life on social media, I think was something that was also really shocking to everyone. Although it's so public, his accounts were all public. He lived so publicly, sharing these posts on his stories. And these can be red flags. I feel like people didn't really pick them up. And one thing that we wanted to note is that he did operate a lot of these accounts under the name Team Loan Sharks. So while Roglieri himself referenced Team Loan Sharks, he didn't post all of this on his own account. So that's just kind of how we did some digging. We found this, and we wanted to point this out just because there's lavish displays of everything that he was purchasing. It shows it's showing that he was spending his money in these obscene ways, and nobody really caught it, even though it was public. So we have a clip here of a picture of him in his car cave. We have him going 180 on I-89, which we talked about last week. And then we also had found a Godfather parody that he had posted, and he actually did recruit one of the original actors from The Godfather to be in this. So we just wanted to include these because these are just the things that he was doing on his public social media accounts that people didn't notice is very interesting. So you can see here we have his Team Loan Sharks branding. It's just incredible what he was posting. So we really wanted to mention that.
Good job, Ann, and good job, Delaney. Thank you for joining us for the Prime Capital Update. We'll talk to you next week.